Okay, look, I know that my mic quality is not the best. I don't care. Okay, I care, but there's nothing I can do about it. Just sit down, watch the video, learn, and get better at aiming. Thank you. So I have spent 1,200 hours of the past year and a half of my life aim training. And you might be wondering, why does this matter to you? Because this means that I have 10 times the knowledge that you do about how to get good aim. Okay, but for real though, I have 1,200 hours of aim training in Kovacs Aim Trainer alone. That is not including the hours I have researched and in-game and aim lab that I have. So just going off of Kovacs alone, I most likely have more hours of aim training than you, which means that I have a lot of knowledge to share. Now that you're looking at me and you're thinking, wow, this guy has 1,200 hours of Kovacs, and I mean, a lot of people have really good aim, but I don't have enough time to just put 1,000 hours into aim training and call it good. Well, that's why I'm making this guide. I can make everything quicker for you. Now, anything you want to get good at in life, you have to put in the hours, put in the work. We stay hungry, we devour. But there is ways to do things faster, and I'm going to show you how. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about that I've learned after all of my time aim training and just learning about aim in general is one of the biggest misconceptions in aiming in general, which is muscle memory. And you might be thinking, what do you mean? Muscle memory. That is like literally aiming. The whole point of aim training is just to get good muscle memory. Well, you're actually completely wrong. There's tons of science and research behind this, and you can definitely just look it up for yourself, find it yourself, whatever. But muscle memory is not actually the end goal of aiming because muscle memory doesn't truly affect how good your aim is. If it was, then you would just be almost linear in how your aim improves. But really, what makes you good at aiming is actually mouse control. So you might be thinking, how do you get good mouse control? Well, it's actually by doing the opposite of what you do for muscle memory. So instead of keeping the exact same sensitivity all the time, forever, what you actually need to do is get a sensitivity randomizer or change your sensitivity yourself and change your sensitivity. Now, you don't need to change your sensitivity 4 times a day, but it is good to change your sensitivity and even go super extreme to super highs and super lows of your default sensitivity. And from this, you will gain a lot of extra mouse control because you will be training more muscles of your hand, which gives you better control over your mouse, which is the end objective of aiming as a whole, which is to have the best control over your mouse. You control the mouse doesn't control you. Now, there's a lot more that goes into getting better aim than sensitivity, just changing and stuff. There's a lot more research that goes into this, but I have given you the general idea of this. So, you shouldn't be playing to get good muscle memory, but you should be playing to get the best mouse control possible. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is like it's known by a lot of people, but not known by everyone. So I more just want to touch on it than really go in depth about explaining about it. But what it is only aim training in Kovacs. If you are doing all of your aim training in only Kovacs, what are you actually training for? At that point, you're training your aim for Kovacs, not your game. You have to do training outside of your game. So this was a big problem for me in my first probably 500 hours of playing Kovacs. I only ever aim trained in Kovacs. So this didn't help me out in the long run because I never got the core mechanics down of the game that I liked playing, which was Valorant. And games like Valorant or FPS games in general require lots of movement and game sense and other things that affect your aim. So just having that raw mechanical aim skill that you get from Kovacs isn't gonna be enough to transfer into an FPS game, for example, Valorant. And I mean, that's all I want to say is just do aim training and mechanical training outside of Kovacs. Like you decide your own split. It could be 50-50, it could be 70-30, but you know, just do aim training outside of Kovacs. Another really good thing that I think a lot of people overlook just because they're super lazy and just don't want to do it because they don't think it'll be worth their time is paying attention to your aim and what mistakes you're actually making. And it's super easy to do. Literally just aim train regularly, but whenever you miss, notice it. Like notice the mistakes you're making. You can even go as far as recording your gameplay. Record a session where you got a high score and then go in and watch that high score and see all the little over flicking you do, all the little under flicking you do, and like notice if you're going in a straight line to your target or if you're curving. You want the most precise, smooth path to your target. Because if you're not getting that precise, smooth path, then you're making your aim take longer than it has to, which is just wasting more time and actually making your aim worse in the long run and creating bad habits. That's how bad habits are created, is because you never fix them in the beginning and then they keep on going forever. So just review your aim gameplay. You don't have to do it every single day, but at least like every month or every 2 weeks, review like just a little bit of your aiming, and you can see the improvement over time if you actually imply the things that you see you're doing wrong. And also, this is going to sound really bad coming from me, but limit how much you actually aim train. Like, like no one should have 1,200 hours of Kovacs. Do people? Yes. Is it the best use of your time? It's debatable. I mean, it might be, it might not be. I still haven't figured it out for myself. But definitely at least at first, limit the time you aim train. Make sure you're spreading it out with how much you play your game as well. Like you shouldn't be just aim training 2 hours a day and then playing your game for 30 minutes. Like you just have to have that right ratio of how much you aim train just to warm up and know when you're actually aim training to just warm up versus when you're aim training to practice. This is a big thing that I just realized I was doing actually like rather recently. Like I used to aim train for 2 hours with the focus of just warming up to be able to play. That is not good. You shouldn't be aim training outside of your game for more than 30 minutes to be able to warm up. And if you want to practice, that's whenever you go into your hour long session. Doing overly long sessions gets kind of deteriorating in the end, though, because your aim is just, you're going to get fatigued. And sure, it's good to build up stamina, but to a certain extent, you don't want to overdo it. And then you can also cause injury by this, which is another small thing I want to touch on, but I don't want to go too crazy on because I know a lot of people just get bored. But just preventing injury, do watch a video, do like 5 stretches. It'll take 15 minutes to stretch before you play. And then like every 30 minutes to an hour, just stretch in between your stuff, stretch while you're queuing into a game. Like really just that kind of stuff can keep you from getting injured. And that's just a small thing I wanted to touch on. So some of the last tips that I have just to wrap up this video are important, but like kind of smaller. Like for example, aim training for a reason, and that doesn't like make sense right off the bat. Like I'm aim training to get better aim, but like you need to have a specific aim category that you're trying to improve on whenever you aim train. Like figure out your weaknesses by reviewing your aim and then go in and then play specific tasks to help yourself get that better aim. Now, this also can be taken the wrong way because then people will hyper focus on just one category of their aim, which is a big problem because if you don't have well-rounded aim in every category, then you're going to notice diminishing returns later on down the line. Like if you only focus on target switching, you're going to get held back later by your tracking and flicking like being undergrown. So you can focus on one more than the other, but you have to grow all of your categories with each other. You can't just do one and then never do the other because this is going to hurt you in the long run. Like I promise it definitely will. I didn't make this mistake and I'm trying to help you not make this mistake cuz It'll definitely hurt you. And honestly, with that, that's about all the tips I have for you for today, guys. I mean, I have a lot more tips and I want to make some more in-depth videos on a lot of stuff. So yeah, if you guys want to see any of that, then subscribe, hit the bell, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, boys, peace out. That's all for me.